a particularly riveting episode of Who Do You Think You Are? BBC One shook the upper branches of Olivia Colman's family tree, and some strange fruit fell out, describing herself as a timid soul, whose favorite activity was staying at home in her pajamas with her family. Olivia seemed both alarmed and thrilled that the story kept returning to the days of the Raj. Her maternal great-great-great-great-grandfather Richard Bosset married in Calcutta and on returning to England sought to separate from his wife in the church courts. A soap opera tale was faithfully recorded in the church rolls of Mrs. Sarah Bosset's dalliance with a harpist at the Opera House. On grounds of her adultery, the church allowed them to separate, but you had to wonder if, like all those cheating couples being caught in Brighton hotels in the 30s, the harpist was a handy way for two people to move on. There was something similar about another of Olivia's illustrious ancestors, a captain in the British East India Company's private army whose list of possessions included a hookah pipe. His possessions were recorded so meticulously perhaps because he'd, according to an 1810 edition of the Madras Courier, in a freak shooting accident. 27 pairs of pantaloons, a Hindustani grammar guide and an elephant. Who knows whether that was really an accident though? People in the past led lives as complicated and messy as our own. They just covered it up better. Shame and secrecy were creative and destructive forces for John Currie, the Ice King. BBC4. The champion skater said frankly in interviews that he'd wanted to learn ballet but his father wouldn't allow it. Ice skating, because it was classed as a sport, became the way he danced, but even as his talent was recognized and nurtured, he was told to rein in the flourishes, to stop being so graceful and to skate in a more masculine way. Like a lot of gay men of the era, he came out only to find the world in a panic about AIDS, and throughout this tender, sad documentary portrait it seemed as if all the years of suppressing and pretending had lasting effects. He described himself as being like a monk, spending his days practicing until the point of exhaustion, able to suspend all his needs, his own right to a life, even to perfect his skating. It was how he won gold medals. But no one would describe it as a happy way to be. In his post-competitive years, touring with his own skating company, there were moments when Currie caught the crowd and held them spellbound. It seemed to close friends, though, as if the crowds were barely there, and that this was just John Currie on his own, whirling like a dervish in a trance. Some spectators who saw his performance in Sweden felt they shouldn't have been there, as if they were intruding on a very private moment. Currie, who died of AIDS-related complications in 1994, was the Ice King in more ways than one. Not a cold man by any stretch, but one who seemed very alone.